Hello and welcome to the Red5 Developer Series. My name is Dominic Agatato and I'm the CTO and one of the founders of Infrared 5. So we use that magnet skin util, and what we do is we're going to create a matrix of letters. So we need two loops. The first loop is going to actually determine how many rows we're making, and the second loop is actually looping through the character codes for A through Z. So what we do is we grab the letter from the character code using string.fromCharCode. We create an embed and set the source to one of the embedded letter symbols. So for instance, we create an image object. We use the helper.getLetter, passing in the character, which was found right here, passing the letter, and we receive a sprite. At that point, we can set the source of the image. Set the width and the height. We can move its position according to the matrix that we defined above, and then we just give it some rotation so it looks like somebody actually placed a magnet on the stage. Nobody ever places magnets on a fridge with perfect rotation, so I've added just a little bit of random to that, and then I'm changing the colors of the magnets because typically these magnets on fridges are all different colors. And then I'm adding those event listeners that we talked about. So each one of these magnets has to be able to be clicked, dragged, and then have unclicked. The other thing that's important about doing multi-slot shared objects is that you have to use a dynamic slot name. And when I say that, I mean you have to give each object that you're going to be representing in the slot an ID or some type of name that you could refer to later on. So in this point, I'm giving the magnet an ID of the character and the number, the position in the iterative loop that we're in. So I say magnet map, and I add that as the name of as the key for this map, and then I add that magnet object as the value. And so we use this magnet map both to set remote shared objects and to get data from them later on. And then I just add the magnet to the stage. All right. So we'll go back to the creation complete here. What we do is we set up our connection code. We connect to a RTMP server using a URI. In this case, I'm using localhost and I'm connecting to the MyApp instance. We set up our event handlers for our net status, and we set the client for the connection. Now we're going to go to the net status, which is the event handler for the connection. And all we're doing is we're seeing if the connection was a success, and if so, we call create magnet RSO. And this actually uses the shared object API to get a remote object. And it's getting a remote object of name coordinates. Now, keep in mind that coordinates isn't the name of the slot, it's the name of the shared object. We pass the connection URI, and we set persistence to false. Then we add the event listener for the remote shared object and the event handler, which is onSync. And then we do a connection connect. At this point, let's go down and discuss the onSync method, which is passed in a SyncEvent from the remote shared object. This is similar to the single slot example, except we are not using a static string. Instead, we're going to use the ID of the magnet, right? So we loop through the change list, which comes in from the event, and in each of the change list items, we get a change object. And from that change object, there's a .code property which says whether we successfully changed the shared object or if it was changed by another client. We grab the change object.name, which is represented by the magnet ID. From that point, we can get the coordinates from that magnet. So we say magnet remote shared object.data, and we pass in the magnet ID, and we say magnet map, passing again the magnet ID, and so we're getting that coordinates object, and then we're setting the magnet with the same name to move to coordinates.x and coordinates.y. just to show you the difference between a single slot and a multi-slot, really quickly, let's go to the remote shared object slot example. And down at the bottom, you'll see RSO.setProperty coordinates object. And then in this one, we're actually, when the magnet is moved, on the onMove, we say, we grab the magnet, which is an image, obviously, and we say magnet RSO.setProperty. And instead of saying a static string here, we're actually using the ID of that magnet. So in this one, again, you'll see that we're just setting a static string coordinates, which is fine if you're doing a single slot example. And this one, we're actually using the ID of the magnet, since we have, what, 26 magnets out there, right? Actually 26 times 15 or whatnot. So that's the difference between a single slot example and a multi-slot example. Again, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them on the video page, and I thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.